Stop lying to yourself. You didn't click on this video for a pat on the back or a motivational boost. You're here because you finally accepted the uncomfortable truth. You are fragile, behind the mask and the faked confidence. You are still a slave to your circumstances. You flinch the moment someone insults you. You crumble when your plans fail. You lie awake at night, paralyzed by a future you can't control. You aren't a fortress. You're a house of cards waiting for the next breeze to knock you over. Get this through your head. Life has no intention of sparing you. The world isn't cruel. It's simply indifferent. It doesn't care if you're ready or not. The storms are coming, and if your mind isn't forged in ruthless discipline, you will be swept away. Today, we stop the rot. You are about to face 5 brutal Stoic laws, designed not to make you feel better, but to burn the weakness out of your system. These aren't cute quotes for your wall. This is a mental reconstruction that is going to hurt. It will feel like betraying the person you've been until now. But it is the only path to becoming truly unbreakable. If you're looking for a shortcut, turn this off now. But if you're ready to face the fire, listen closely, because law number 5 is the punch to the jaw you've been ducking for years. Law 1. Accept that life owes you nothing. You are walking around with a hidden infection that is rotting your resilience from the inside out. That infection is entitlement. Deep down, you've been sold a comfortable lie. You believe that if you're a good person, the world should be kind to you. You think that because you put in the hours, success is a debt the universe needs to pay back. You expect that if you are loyal, others will be loyal in return. You believe that your plans deserve to work out just because you want them to. Wake up. Reality is not a vending machine where you insert effort and receive fairness. The universe is brutally, cold-bloodedly indifferent to your expectations. The market doesn't care about your mortgage. The weather doesn't care about your wedding. People will betray you not because you deserve it, but because they are flawed. You can do everything right, every single step, and you can still lose. You can be the hardest worker in the room and still get fired. You can be the most faithful partner and still be abandoned. And here is the brutal truth. The moment you complain about it, you have already lost. Why? Because you're fighting a ghost. You're wasting your most precious resource, your mental energy, arguing with reality. And reality has never lost a fight. A weak mind gets stuck in the why. It screams at the sky asking, why is this happening to me? It looks for a manager to complain to, as if life has a customer service desk. This is the mindset of a victim, and victims are always fragile. A strong mind, a stoic mind, skips the drama and goes straight to the only thing that matters, the response. When you truly accept that life owes you absolutely zero, no fairness, no success, no safety, no apology, something shifts in your DNA. You stop looking for a rescue party and you start looking for a solution. The fragility of your ego dies, and what remains is pure, unadulterated power. A plan fails. You don't cry about the unfairness of the economy. You pivot and find a new angle. Someone stabs you in the back. You don't waste months wondering how they could be so cruel. You adjust your boundaries and keep moving. Everything you built falls apart. You don't sit in the ashes. You pick up a shovel and start digging the foundation for the next fortress. This is the end of the poor me era. There is no drama. There is no self-pity. There are no excuses. The world isn't coming to save you, and it's certainly not going to apologize for hitting you once you realize that you have no right to a smooth path. You stop being a house of cards, and you start being a force of nature. Stop waiting for the world to be fair. Stop waiting for people to be better. The world is exactly as it is. Your job isn't to change the world's indifference. Your job is to become the person who doesn't need its permission to be great. Life owes you nothing. Now go out and take what you want from it anyway. Law 2, discipline over motivation. Let's stop the charade. Motivation is a liar. It's a fair weather friend that whispers sweet promises when you're lying in bed. but abandons you the second you actually have to step into the cold. If your entire life is built on feeling like it, you aren't a leader. You're a hostage to your own moods. Most people are addicted to the feeling of being inspired. They watch a video, they get a rush of dopamine, and they think they've made progress. But the moment that high wears off and the real work begins, they vanish. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel inspired. They wait for a sign from the universe. Here is the brutal truth. That moment isn't coming. The Stoics knew that emotions are unstable, shifting like the wind. If you let your feelings drive the car, you will end up in a ditch. They didn't rely on a spark to get things done. They relied on discipline. Discipline is the cold, hard engine that runs whether you're happy, sad, exhausted, or bored. It is the ability to show up when every cell in your body is screaming for you to quit. Weak people spend their lives in a constant negotiation with themselves. I'll start tomorrow. I'm just not in the right headspace. I've worked hard enough for today. Strong. People don't negotiate. They don't give themselves a seat at the table to discuss whether the work will get done. They have already decided. They execute every single day, rain or shine. When you negotiate with yourself, you are training your mind to accept defeat. You are telling your subconscious that your comfort is more important than your character. Discipline is the process of killing that voice of weakness. It's the soldier who marches through the mud because it's his duty, not because he likes the scenery. It's the athlete who trains in the dark while the world is sleeping. Understand this. Motivation is a bonus, but discipline is the backbone. Motivation might get you to the starting line, but it will never, ever get you to the finish. If you want to be unbreakable, stop looking for inspiration and start building a standard. Decide what needs to be done and then do it with a cold, ruthless indifference to how you feel about it. The world is full of talented, motivated people who never achieved anything because they couldn't handle the boredom of the grind. Don't be one of them. Stop asking if you're in the mood. Start asking what the mission is. Then execute, no debate. No delay. Law 3, seek discomfort. Let's be honest, comfort is a slow-acting poison. It doesn't kill you instantly. It just makes you so soft that the first sign of real trouble finishes you off. We live in an era of unprecedented ease. Everything is designed to be faster, smoother, and more convenient. You have food at the push of a button, climate control for every degree, and endless entertainment to numb your brain. But there is a hidden cost to this luxury. Your strength is evaporating. The more you insulate yourself from the harshness of reality, the more you become a prisoner to your own lifestyle. If you can't handle a cold room, a long walk, or a missed meal without complaining, you aren't living the dream. You are a slave to your comforts. The Stoics saw this trap thousands of years ago. They knew that a man who only trains in fair weather will drown in the first storm. That's why they practiced voluntary hardship. They weren't masochists. They were strategists. They would sleep on the floor when they had a bed. They would wear rags when they owned silk. They would fast when their pantries were full. Why? Because they refused to let their happiness depend on external conditions. They wanted to be able to look fate in the eye and say, "Is this all you've got? I've been here before." If you never experience discomfort by choice, then every minor inconvenience becomes a crisis. A rude comment ruins your day. A slow internet connection triggers a tantrum. A setback at work feels like the end of the world. You have no calluses on your soul. The law is brutal. If you don't choose discomfort, life will eventually choose it for you. And when life chooses it, it won't be a practice run. It will be a medical crisis, a financial collapse, or a crushing loss. If you haven't trained, you will shatter. You need to start wargaming your life. You do the hard thing because it is hard. You take the cold shower to remind your body who is boss. You push through the final set at the gym when your lungs are burning. You choose the difficult conversation over the easy silence. Every time you choose the path of most resistance, you are sharpening your blade. You are building a version of yourself that doesn't panic when the heater breaks. or the car won't start. You are becoming a person who can stand in the middle of chaos and remain unmoved because you've already conquered the enemy within. Comfort weakens the mind. Discomfort forges the spirit. Stop running from the things that make you sweat, ache, or feel awkward. Embrace them. The more hard things you do on purpose, the less the world can do to hurt you. Become the kind of person that even the harshest storm can't touch. Law 4. Master your emotions. Most people believe they are the masters of their own lives, but they are actually prisoners in chains, dragged around by the whims of their own chemistry. They are puppets, and their emotions are the strings. When anger flares, they shout. When fear creeps in, they retreat. When sadness hits, they paralyze. They live in a constant state of reaction, bouncing from one impulse to the next like a pinball. They have no center, no core, and no control. If I can make you angry, I can pull your strings. If the world can make you afraid, it owns you. Your emotions are not your enemy, but they are incredibly dangerous leaders. They are primal signals designed for survival, not for greatness. Anger makes you reckless, burning bridges you spent years building. Fear makes you hesitate at the exact moment you need to strike. Sadness turns you inward, blinding you to the opportunities right in front of your face. Most people blindly follow these signals as if they are absolute truths. They react instantly, no pause, no control, no awareness. This is why they stay stuck. The Stoics did something different. They weren't robots. They felt the same sting of betrayal, the same jolt of fear, and the same weight of grief that you do. The difference is that they felt everything but obeyed nothing. They understood that there is a tiny millionth of a second gap between a stimulus and your response. In that gap lies your entire freedom. That space is your power. When someone insults you, that heat you feel in your chest is the emotion. The decision to insult them back or to remain silent is the action. The Stoic lives in that gap. You must learn the art of the strategic pause. Someone insults your character? Pause. The project you worked on for months fails. Pause. The future looks dark and overwhelming. Pause. In that silence, you ask the only question that matters. What is the right response here? Not the response that feels good. Not the response that feeds your ego. The rational response. The response that moves you toward the person you want to become. Strength is not about becoming a cold, unfeeling stone. It's about being the mountain that remains unmoved while the storm rages around it. You feel the wind, you feel the rain, you feel the thunder, but you do not move. When you master your emotions, you strip the world of its power to manipulate you. People can no longer get to you. Circumstances can no longer break you. You stop being a slave to your nervous system and you start being the commander of your mind. Stop letting your feelings dictate your life. Your moods are temporary, but the consequences of your emotional actions are often permanent. Do not give a fleeting feeling the power to destroy your future. Master the pause, master the response, and finally, for the first time in your life, master yourself. Law 5. Memento Mori. Remember you will die. Stop acting like you have 1,000 years to live. You are walking around with a terminal diagnosis called being human, and the clock has been ticking. Since the second you were born, the biggest tragedy of your life isn't death, it's the way you live while you're alive. Most people exist in a state of permanent slumber, drifting through their days as if they have an infinite supply of time in the bank. They waste hours on mindless distractions. They delay their dreams for a better time, and they hold back their true potential because they're afraid of a little embarrassment. They live small, timid lives because they think they have the luxury of waiting. You don't. Every minute you spend complaining, every hour you spend scrolling, and every day you spend waiting to feel ready is a piece of your life that has been permanently deleted. It is gone. You will never see it again. Memento Mori is not a depressing thought. It is the ultimate wake-up call. It is the most brutal of all Stoic laws because it strips away every single one of your pathetic excuses. When you look death in the face, the reasons you haven't started your business, the fear you have of talking to that person, and the anxiety you feel about the future all reveal themselves for what they really are: trivial bullshit. The Stoics didn't carry death in their minds to be morbid. They carried it to be urgent. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Once you truly internalize your own mortality, the world sharpens. Petty grudges vanish. Why hate someone when you both are going to be dust in a few decades? Procrastination becomes a sin. Why wait for tomorrow when tomorrow isn't guaranteed in the contract? Fear of judgment dies. Why care what people think of you when they won't even be around to remember your name? You stop asking, "What do I feel like doing?" And you start asking, "What actually matters?" One day the door will close. There will be no more retries, no more "I'll do it later," no more chances to say what you meant or be who you wanted to be. The finish line is coming for you, whether you've run the race or not. Stop living like a spectator in your own life. Stop treating your time like it's trash. Memento Mori is the fuel for greatness. It forces you to live with fire in your chest and clarity in your mind. Use the knowledge of your death to finally start living. The clock isn't just ticking, it's screaming at you to wake up. You've heard the laws. Now comes the part where 99% of people fail. Most of you will feel a temporary rush of motivation. You'll feel inspired, and then you'll close this tab and go right back to your soft habits, your weak mindset, and your pathetic excuses. You'll choose the same comfort that's been killing you all along. The Stoics didn't care about inspiration. They cared about execution. They didn't just think differently, they lived differently. Every single day, in the dirt, in the cold, in the face of death, here is the only question that matters. Are you going to live this, or are you just a spectator? Don't wait for a sign. Life is going to test you sooner than you think. And when that moment of crisis arrives, you won't rise to the level of your expectations. You will fall to the level of your preparation. If you haven't built the armor, you will feel every bit of the blade. Start now. Pick one law. Not tomorrow. Today. Don't worry about being perfect. Just be serious. The version of you that is unbreakable, the person who can stand in the middle of a hurricane and not flinch, is built in moments exactly like this. It's built when you decide to kill the person you've been and finally start becoming the person you were meant to be. The world is waiting to break you. Prove it wrong.